I was loosely involved with the Alberta USA thing, because she was a proponent of that as well. She was involved with Wexit, who which was started by Peter Downing, a man that attends my church and calls me pastor. And so Tamara Lich is somebody that has been kind of on the outside of this for a long, on the edge of this for a long time, and now here she is in the national spotlight. Also, Chris Barber, who has been in the news right now. I went to high school with him in Saskatchewan a very long time ago. Actually, junior high. I knew him back then. It's weird. All my life, I've attracted these sorts of people that I've been around, but forever, for my whole life. And so I also know those guys that are involved with Diagolon, and that's the most comical aspect and non-serious, incompetent, stupid part. Like those, when those guys at, what everybody knows as this international galactic terrorist organization called Diagolon now. Well, they used to be the Plaid Army, and Jeremy Mackenzie, who's a Canadian military vet, had this little statue of a goat that he called it Filip, right? And Filip was addicted to cocaine and a time traveler. And I see in the hearings on the convoy that they're actually bringing up Filip, the cocaine-addicted, time-traveling goat. This is the talk in a hearing over whether or not to invoke the Emergencies Act. And now they have, let's be real here. Jeremy, he's my friend. I love the guy, and I'm loyal to my friends, but he made a stupid move. He opened his mouth and said some things that was dumb. That was really dumb, especially with all the attention he was getting right now. That being said, we were talking before all of this happened, and he got chucked in jail, and he said, Mike, everything that we've done and all the outrage and attention that we've gotten over it, he said, when they really freaked out, like when CSIS started investigating us, when we started seeing vans outside of the house and things like that, and we, they were coming to the door and giving us their card, it was when I created this Diagolon meme, which took about 12 seconds on my phone. It was just a black flag with a white diagonal stripe. But he said, I figured it out. We were drawing attention to the separation of the Western provinces from the rest of Canada, because that's what Diagolon was. It was a white line from Alaska to Texas, cutting the U.S. and Canada diagonally in half. And he said, that's the only thing that I can think as to why they freaked out the way that they did. And now here we are with the Canadian Parliament going up and testifying on Filip, the cocaine-addicted, time-traveling goat. And it's the I've never seen anything this stupid in my life at the official level.
Isn't it incredible? Boy, the Filip the goat, that sounds like what they used to get through the FISA courts to get surveillance on Trump, doesn't it? That kind of evidence,
It's that bad,
Isn't it insane? And it sounds funny because Jeremy's still in jail. That still blows me away. And I'll bet you Tamara, her, at least even the affiliation or tipping her toes in the water of Alberta 51 didn't help her, Mike. I'll bet you.
No, they actually, they tried to use that against her as well. And the thing about Jeremy, Jeremy is in jail, it has nothing to do with any of this. There was somebody that was a fan of theirs that met up with him in Saskatchewan, and a bunch of their other regular viewers on YouTube or DLive or wherever it was, that was chasing a skirt, basically, that didn't want him anything to do with him. And this chick was, the way it was described to me, she was the local bicycle. But he got his nose out of joint, turned on them, and started making false accusations, to which they have several witnesses were not allowed to be brought forward. And so the charges on Jeremy were actually trumped up in the first place, and don't even really hold any water. But it doesn't matter because he's sitting in jail. And I actually tried to, I called Derek yesterday, and we were talking just to see how he was doing. And so it turns out that Jeremy is in a cell where he's only let out for 15 minutes a day over a minor assault charge that there's evidence that he didn't even isn't even guilty of it, but they're just throwing everything they can at these guys. And really the whole thing about it for dragging it in was because at the Coots border they claimed to have found a Diagolon patch on some gear with some guns that they found and I mean, that'd be like if somebody went onto Americanuckradio.com and bought an Americanuck Radio t-shirt. I would have no idea who they are. And let's say the government found it at a crime scene and said, "Oh, this is evidence right here that Mike Filip caused this to happen." It's the same situation, Greg.
This era, Mike, of planting evidence, trumped up, if not made up, charges. Can we say impeachment phone calls?
Bearing false witness. Let's put it that way.
Yep, and kangaroo courts. The January 6th. This entire charade of January 6th committee is there's no rebuttal. That's right in the Constitution. Last I looked, that you need to have the rebuttal in the jury of your peers, right? I mean, they're just breaking all these rules of the Constitution, and it has got to stop, Mike. It has got to stop. And may the voters of Alberta and the voters down here in the States in 2022 and 2024 will they make the difference? They need to make the difference here, because this nonsense has got to stop. This is political prisoners. You talk about Jeremy or Tamara, and the list goes on. January 6th. These are political prisoners. This is for third world countries, Mike. Third world countries.
Yeah, but it's worse than that, because we have. It's worse because you expect it from them, right?
Sure,
and
exactly.
We've always not expected that here. We've always expected a certain level of incompetence, but not quite at this level, right?
Yep.
And I mean, you know what? Maybe, like, okay, with what you just said, you can't trust anything in the judiciary. You can't trust anything in Congress. You can't trust anything in the executive branch at this moment. You can't trust the electoral system. You can't trust law enforcement. Maybe it all needs to actually just get wiped out and, like, shaking the Etch-a-Sketch and start over again.
Right.
I'd be cool with that.
I think there can be an element of that without a full implosion.